Hey everyone! Today I am answering all of your fitness and nutrition questions. I have already received some questions from you that I'll answer throughout, but my priority will be to get to the questions that you're asking me live. My name is Yesenia Godoy and I'm a fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach. And if you are here live, hit the like button so I know you're here. And if you're watching the replay, comment with #replay. All right, so let's get started. What questions do you have regarding fitness or nutrition? Let's see, I'm trying to track comments on the computer. All right, so the first question is, can you be vegan or vegetarian and count macros? And the answer is absolutely. The wonderful thing about counting macros, or IIFYM, is that you get to choose the foods that you eat or don't eat. But as a vegan or a vegetarian, the thing you'll want to think about is how will you hit your protein? And in this day and age, there are just so many options for high protein foods available. There are the fall meats like tofu, tempeh, TVP, seitan, and others. And then in addition, you can focus on eating protein, what I call proteiny carbs or proteiny fats. And what those are sources of carbs that are high in protein. For example, lentils. They're a carb. Definitely most of the calories come from carbs, but they are also a higher source of protein than other carbs that you may compare them to, like rice. And then proteiny fats. Well, what's that? Well, they're usually like nuts, like pumpkin seeds. Even though they're still considered a fat and most of the calories come from fat, they're higher in protein than other fats, for example, olive oil or any of those other ones. See, I'm just looking. So if you have any questions, pop them in now. There's a little bit of a delay, so I'll see it pop up and then I'll answer it. And the other thing about being vegan is that if you're not hitting your protein already, you can consider doing a protein shake. What? Don't know what I pressed. Okay. I think I took a screenshot. Anyways, so the other question that came up is, I've already lost 15 pounds. Do I need to recalculate my macros? And no, you don't. You never recalculate your macros if you're still losing weight on the calories and macros that you're at. The only time you'll want to change your macros is if both the scale and your measurements aren't changing after staying within your calories for at least 3 weeks. And so at that point, you're not going to recalculate. What you'll do is you'll subtract from the calories that you're at, so about 100 to 115, and then you generally take those calories from carbs. So comment plateau if you've hit a plateau and maybe there's something I can help you with. And the other question that came in is, what supplements should I take to make progress? And the truth is, you don't need to take any supplements to make progress. You can manipulate your weight by manipulating your calories, and you can build muscle by eating sufficient protein and lifting weights with progressive overload. So the other thing is that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration does not check supplements for safety and effectiveness before they are marketed. This means that you could be putting your health at risk. But the supplements that you may want to consider are creatine monohydrate or fish oil, and after consulting with your doctor, things that you may be deficient in after you do your yearly tests, like vitamin B12, vitamin D, or iron, but only if you're deficient, because if you get too much of some vitamins, like the fat-soluble vitamins, it can actually be toxic for your body. And usually the sources that are more toxic are if you're taking things in pill or supplement form versus if you're getting them from food. Toxicity can still happen then, but it's more likely to happen if you're over-consuming from supplements. And let's see. Hey everyone! So I can't see everyone that's watching. I do see Yesenia. So hi Yesenia. I'm taking any questions related to fitness or nutrition. There are no stupid questions, but I'm happy to answer them right now. I'm answering some of the ones that came in for the people who couldn't join me live today. But if you are here live, I will prioritize your questions. So just go ahead and ask. I'm going to take a soda of water because I talk very fast and a lot. Okay, so the other question that was sent in is, how can I track my food when I go out to eat? So what you want to do first is look on the website for the restaurant you're going to, because the big chains usually have nutritional information, and some even have like fancy calculators where you can put in, depending on what you're switching out or what you're eating, and then it'll calculate the calories and macro breakdown for those things. But if they don't have a calculator or it's a local place, look in your calorie or macro tracking app. I personally use MyFitnessPal, but the other apps have options too. Look for an option from another restaurant, even like chains, because you can find something similar to what you're eating and then just use that. It won't be perfect, but keep in mind that you don't have to be perfect to get results. You just want to be consistent. Tell me in the comments below how many times per week you generally eat out and or your favorite restaurants. Right? Does anyone have any fitness or nutrition questions? I'm going through the questions that I received today, but I am giving priority to anyone who is asking questions live. And I can't see all of y'all watching, but thank you so much for being here. The other question that came in is, should I weigh my meat raw or cooked? And the truth is, weighing your meat raw will always be more accurate because the final weight will be based on your cooking method and time. For example, if you grill something, it's going to end up being lighter in weight than if you boil something. But the important thing is to log it how you weigh it. So if you're weighing chicken and it's already cooked, just make sure when you look for the entry for your chicken, make sure you're looking for chicken cooked, so chicken breast cooked, for example. And let me know in the comments below how you track your meat. Do you track it cooked or raw? And, right? And now, just waiting for questions. Those were all, hey Caitlin, those were all the questions that came in before the chat for the ladies who could not be here today. But if you have any questions and you're on, let me know. So far we have covered, should I weigh my meat raw or cooked? How can I track my food when I go out to eat? What supplements should I take to make progress? And I lost 15 pounds. Do I need to recalculate my macros? And then the first one I answered was, can I be vegan or vegetarian and count macros? And so if you missed any of those questions, you can go back and watch it in the replay, which I will post after the live today. Hey, Gabrielle. So I think I can wave to y'all. There, I waved. And I'll wave here too. All right, so don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment with your biggest takeaway and share this video with someone who might find it helpful. Or if you have a friend that has a question, tag her real quick. Maybe she'll be available to ask me a question. All Right, so I don't have any more questions that came in. So if you have any questions, let me know. And if not, I'll get ready to disconnect and post the replay for y'all. All right, well, if there are no questions, actually, I'm going to check on Facebook now to see if sometimes the phone can be weird. Oh, I do see a bunch of questions, but they're not coming up on my phone. So good thing I'm lucky. So Courtney says, what is the benefit of creatine? And so when we're talking about creatine, we're talking about creatine monohydrate. And some of that is found in food, but not always. And so you can't always get it from food, so that is a good one that has been studied extensively. It's generally very safe for the healthy population, and it helps with like power and strength. And it's not like pre-workout where you feel the benefits immediately. It's something that has to build up in your system. So you take it like daily, and then it builds up in your system to help with that. So it helps you, and it's not something you can see immediate. Like you don't feel it like you do caffeine, or no tingling, or no anything. It's the creatine monohydrate is super. It's a super fine powder, and so then you just put it in your drink. So you want to build it up in your system. It helps with like power and strength, and the more you lift, you're creating progressive overload, which helps build muscle. So hope I answered. Hey Jennifer, hey Blanca. Kiki asks, how do you deal with hunger with stress eating? So in terms of hunger, there's hunger, like hunger that you feel like in your belly rumbling, and then there's sort of like eating for other reasons. And you tend to know the difference, like when it's not like a belly centered feeling. So if you're eating because of stress, you want to deal with the stress. You want to sit down and feel the stress and feel the feelings. You don't want to, because if food isn't the problem, food also is not the solution. And so you don't want to be eating because it's not going to help you feel better. You're eating because it provides that quick dopamine hit, but what you actually want to do is some kind of serotonin boosting activity, and those kinds of things are like movement, like spending time in nature, spending time with your loved ones, doing creative things that you enjoy, learning activities. So you want to replace them with those kinds of activities, but habits are really hard to break. So it's actually a really like complex situation, but our brain is very malleable. So if we practice doing something else when we're stressed, then we will get better at turning to that thing instead of eating. And I'm missing questions. So Courtney asks, should I take creatine in pill or liquid form? So I actually haven't seen it in liquid form. I do powder, and I just make sure it's just purely creatine monohydrate and not anything else. And keep in mind that before you take any supplements, you want to have your fitness and nutrition in check. Like, you're not going to get any benefit from supplements if you're not eating within your calories, eating sufficient protein, and lifting weights with progressive overload, which means increasing the volume of the weight you lift over time. I thought I saw another comment. Right, so I don't see any other questions. Are there any other questions? related to fitness, nutrition, either something I covered or something I haven't. I'm watching the feed here. Kiki says, thank you for the response. Of course, Kiki, and if you want to talk further about it, I'm happy to discuss and chat some of the techniques and the kinds of things that you can actually do to address those like stress eating behaviors, because they are, a habit, and a habit you want to get out of, and bad habits are hard to break out of because our brain just likes doing things. It just classifies things into automatic. And so it wants to keep doing things that are easy. Our brain is super efficient, so it wants to keep doing things that are very easy to do. And if you have to think about it, that becomes harder to kind of override that automatic part of your brain. All right, so if there are no more questions, as I can see, so Kiki says she would love to discuss further. Of course, just send me a private message and we can chat about it. Blanca says, do you have any book recommendations for regarding changing habits? Yes, actually, a great one that I thought I had on my shelf. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear is amazing, and he has like a free PDF on his website. I think it's called, I want to say it's just jamesclear.com, but yeah, it's jamesclear.com. And so he has Atomic Habits is a really fantastic book, and then he has like a short PDF on it and a bunch of articles and resources, and just the way he explains things is they're very easy to understand, because I'm not like a big I don't want to know about the theory, I just want to know how can I apply them, and he's very to the point in that way. Lisa asks, do you calculate macros? Yes, I do calculate macros. So if you want either a one-time macro consultation, or you want to do one-on-one coaching, or you just need more information, just feel free to send me a private message, and I'm happy to help. Because there's a delay, I don't want to cut off too soon, but I'm watching the comments. So I have a question. It says, did you mention what you are using at the moment to track macros? So what I use MyFitnessPal, and I've been using MyFitnessPal for a long time, and I'll probably honestly never leave MyFitnessPal unless it goes away. And it's not because it's superior to any others. I think they're all pretty much the same. I just make a lot of my own food, and so MyFitnessPal, I have like 100 recipes, and then I just reuse them over and over again. And so I use MyFitnessPal to track macros. I'm just pulling up on my computer because for some reason my phone isn't telling me about questions. All right. Are there any more questions that you have about fitness or nutrition or habits or mindset around that? So Blanca wants to know if I track daily or if I track weekly macros. So I track daily macros. I need a drink of water. I track daily macros because that's just easier for me. I'm a routine person, so I like to know what to expect daily. And if you're listening and you're not sure what weekly macros are versus daily macros are, so weekly macros are when you can eat different calories each day, either based around your training or your preference. So some people will eat fewer calories Monday through Friday, and then they have more calories for Saturday and Sunday. And so that helps because then they have more room to play with on the weekend, and the week tends to be more structured by things like work and responsibilities and other things. And so people have less of a tendency to eat more, and then on the weekend you may be ordering pizza or going out with friends or your family or making a big Sunday breakfast. And so that allows that flexibility to be able to track macros that way. Other reasons to track are, for example, if you're a runner and you're eating more carbs one day, then if you track weekly macros, you can move those calories from in the form of carbs to around your run. Like if there's some kind of performance goal, it doesn't just have to be running. You can do that, and then you can track weekly macros. It also goes by carb cycling, calorie cycling. I personally call it weekly macros. But for most people, for most of us, besides those two reasons, it's not super beneficial to be having different macros every day. The one thing with weekly macros is while you can eat an average of calories, you always want to hit your minimum protein and you want to hit your minimum fat. So minimum protein would be 1 gram of, 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you have more weight to lose, somewhere between 0.6 and 0.8 grams. And then minimum fat, somewhere between probably I would say 0.3 grams per pound of body weight is good for most people. And you want to, even with weekly macros, you want to ensure you're eating sufficient protein and you're eating sufficient fat. Your carbs can vary because protein and fat are essential macros and carbs are not. And sorry, I keep looking over here because I'm watching for questions. I hope that's not too distracting. Kiki asks, do you practice intermittent fasting? So I don't practice intermittent fasting on a regular basis. Generally, I work out in the morning, and so whenever I work out in the morning, I do get hungry. So usually I wake up and have coffee and some Lotus Biscoffs, and then I get straight to training. So I get up at 4, and then by 4:30 I have a home gym, so I'm in my home gym working out. And then after, I'll have something small, something very small, like maybe somewhere between 250 and 300 calories generally, and then I have lunch. But on the weekends, I don't usually wake up and lift weights or work out, and on those days, I wake up and have coffee and I don't eat until lunch. But really, with intermittent fasting, it's if calories are equal, it's not, and you don't like to do intermittent fasting, you don't have to make progress. So intermittent fasting is a good way to sort of shrink that time that you're eating, because you can have bigger meals, and then when you're eating bigger meals, you feel more satiated, and it just helps with adherence for the most part. Or in those situations, like on the weekend, sometimes I'll intentionally skip eating breakfast so that I can have more calories for lunch. So those are the times when I do intermittent fasting. Hey, Christy. Hey, Krista. Christy's so sweet. She says, good morning to the best coach. Aw. Did that answer your question, Kiki, on intermittent fasting? Is that something you were interested in? Right, and I'm just going to take some water. Apparently I don't talk a lot lately because even after just 25 minutes, I'm thirsty. And right now, I covered all the questions that were sent in, a few that came in. So just if you have any questions about fitness, nutrition, or mindset around that, just pop them in and I'll be happy to answer them. And what I'm doing is I'm looking on my computer because I'm live on my phone, but my computer is the one showing me the comments. So Kiki had asked if I practice intermittent fasting, and I asked if it answered a question. She said, yes, thank you, that when she's doing good with macros, intermittent fasting does help her. All right, any more questions? All right, if there are no more questions, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you hit a like and tag anyone who could benefit from the things we talked about today, and we'll see you around. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday and talk to you soon. Hey everyone. And I forgot to mention, if you want your own guide to flexible dieting or counting macros, head on over to the link on my homepage and or my webpage, yesefitness.com/flexible guide. And on October 19th, I will be launching a brand new group coaching program with lifetime access to help you navigate everything to do with your nutrition. So if you grab the guide, you'll get information on that as we get closer to the date. And if it already sounds good to you and you want to jump on a call, feel free to send me an email or find me on Facebook or Instagram. I have my handle, I think, hold on. Up here. I think up here. And I would love to chat with you and see if it's a good fit for you. All right. Thank you so much for being here and talk to you later. Bye.